Get it by.
Before anyone ever
Yeah.
dreamed of
Well
making
done.
a voyage to Santiago de Compostela in the far west of Europe, the pilgrim route south of Rome was already centuries old. Beyond Rome, across the sea, in a storied and holy land, lay the crown jewels of Christian pilgrimage: Bethlehem, Galilee, the Mount of Olives, Gethsemane, and in Jerusalem, the holiest of sepulchres, the tomb that could not hold the Son of God. For European pilgrims, between their homes in the Holy Land lay the mountains, valleys, plains, and seaports of southern Italy. Those words are the introduction to our new guidebook on the Via Francigena in the south, Rome to Monte Sant'Angelo, Bari, Brindisi, and Santa Maria di Leuca. We wrote the book in late 2024, and it builds on the three earlier guidebooks on the route from Canterbury to Lausanne to Lucca and Rome. We usually think of the Via Francigena as the medieval walking route based on the Archbishop of Canterbury's walk from Canterbury to Rome and back again in the year 990. History gives examples of extended itineraries beyond Rome, for instance, that of the Bordeaux Pilgrim in the years 333 to 334. Using the system of Roman roads, this anonymous pilgrim rode on horseback across the northern Mediterranean basin from Bordeaux far east to the Holy Land. Once there, returning by a southerly route across the Adriatic and up the Italian peninsula through Rome. Stops on the itinerary of the Bordeaux Pilgrim correspond to places on today's map of southern Italy. They align with the ancient Roman Via Appia Traiana and form the basis of the Via Francigena in the south. Added to the route is a major variant from Troia to Monte Sant'Angelo, which then reconnects to the main route at Bari. Together, these routes add centuries to the historic routes of the Via Francigena. The main route is 937 kilometers long, which we have divided into four sections. The first hugs the coastal mountains in Lazio. The second crosses the Apennines in Campania. The third crosses Puglia to the coast, ending at Brindisi. The fourth continues from Brindisi to Otranto, and the tip of the boot at Santa Maria di Leuca. We also cover the 5 stages from Troia to the historic pilgrimage destination of Monte Sant'Angelo. Finally, the route reconnects from there to Bari and the main route. The first section is in Lazio. As you leave Rome, you walk the first 12 kilometers on the original surface of the Via Appia, ending the first stage at the Pope's Summer Palace at Castel Gandolfo. The next stages are up and down along the walls of volcanic ridges, enjoying sights often missed by tourists. You are never far from the sea as you walk the route in Lazio. The stages are packed with pre-Roman, Roman, medieval, and contemporary treasures. The itinerary passes alongside 2 major archaeological sites, both worthy of a visit. One of the great gifts of this section is the Dodici group, volunteers who support you and, if you like, accompany you on your walk. They add a depth of friendship and knowledge to each day. The second region crossed is mountainous Campania, where the route turns east just after crossing the Garigliano River. Each town seems to have its own storehouse of Roman-era treasures, from parts of the Via Appia to Roman colosseums and statues. Best preserved is the Arch of Trajan in Benevento, which celebrates the completion of the Via Traiana over 1900 years ago. This beautiful city is surrounded by mountains, and in the following stage, you begin your ascent to the high point of the route south of Rome, in the Daunian Mountains just before Celle di San Vito, a French-speaking provincial capital on the border of Puglia. In the first Puglia section, you come out of the mountains and see before you the vast plains of the Tavoliere. The topography now shifts to nearly flat farmland as the terrain slopes gradually toward the Adriatic coast. Olive trees begin to predominate, and pieces of the Roman Via Appia Traiana are still visible. Here the cities each have a medieval core, and lively sculpture adorns the Romanesque architecture of their cathedrals. Some of the best examples in Italy of Romanesque architecture are here in the Foggia province. Enchanting center cities and quiet cathedrals give way to vibrant urban life as you arrive at seaside Bari, with its fortress walls and church of San Nicola. Now begins 150 kilometers of walking along the Adriatic coast, with constant sea breezes and fascinating coastal towns along the way, until the passenger ferry takes you into central Brindisi, where Trajan's column announces the completion of the Via Appia Traiana, and you can receive your testimonium at the Pilgrim office. The second Puglia section of the main route heads inland to enjoy the beautiful cream-colored Baroque city of Lecce, an ancient town and delightful additional overnight. Here, enjoy strolling among the ornate churches and civic buildings of the town. The itinerary then returns to the coast to connect with the ancient port city of Otranto, where the Bordeaux pilgrim returned on the way toward Rome. After Otranto, the route continues down the Salento Peninsula, finding coastal paths and easy roads through olive groves until finally arriving at the tip of the heel of the boot of Italy. The nuns at the Basilica of Santa Maria di Leuca will happily complete a testimonium certificate for you. You may choose to pause at the overlook to enjoy the sunset as you contemplate your walk of many days. The major variant of the Via Francigena is also in Puglia and leads up the pastures and hillsides of the Gargano National Park, with some of the most scenic rural hiking on all of the Via Francigena. Come to San Giovanni Rotondo, which is the resting place of popular Italian saint Padre Pio, and the basilica over his tomb is a wonder of modern architecture. After another day of outstanding walking, arrive at Monte Sant'Angelo, since the Middle Ages one of the most important pilgrimage destinations in Europe. The heart of the site is a cave said to have been the location of a visitation by the Archangel Michael. Here you can also receive a testimonium certificate of your pilgrimage.
So we now come to the next variant to connect Monte Sant'Angelo, which is up here, back to the main route at Bari, and that's the light purple line which you can see. So the main route is 60 kilometers. The variant route is 60 kilometers longer than if you were to take the main route, and that's the blue line you can see along here. And then right at the start, you descend from the shrine at Monte Sant'Angelo from the Basilica, continuing on from the Gargano National Park to head down finally to the coast and to the Adriatic Sea. And this is a wonderful overlook over the Gulf of Manfredonia. Arriving in Manfredonia, there are many historical sites to see as well, including castles and cathedrals. And after that, the Via Litoranea connection continues along, hugging the coast all the way to Bari. There is a section between Manfredonia and Barletta, which follows quite a busy highway. So it's the SP5 highway, and there isn't a pavement to walk on. So we do actually advise in the book to take a bus here. although it is interspersed as well with really lovely lengthy beach sections, as you can see on the photo. And even if you were to take the bus, there are good transport links, so you can still hop on and hop off to visit Saponetta, Margherita di Savoia, and there are some beautiful salt flats as well, which in the summer in particular see many pink flamingos. After that, it's much easier walking. So once you arrive in Barletta, to continue along the Via Litoranea to Bari, you go along country lanes. You're still hugging the coastline a lot, and you're following many beachside promenades called lungomares in Italian. The towns of Barletta and Trani in particular are very historical. Both have Swabian castles, beautiful cathedrals, and there in the middle you can see the cathedral in Trani, which is often named the queen of the Puglian Romanesque of cathedrals, and that is the port in Trani. This becomes a little bit of a theme along the coast, all the way to Santa Maria di Leuca, seeing these beautiful ports with colourful fishing boats. After Trani, as I said, you continue along beachside promenades with along turquoise seas, and finally you arrive in Bari, linking with the main route. So yes, here you can get an overview of the main route, which is drawn out in red, and then the variant route, which is in blue. If many pilgrims choose to complete the route to Monte Sant'Angelo, to visit the shrine there, and then sometimes actually connect through Foggia, which you can see there in the middle, and then back onto the main route a little bit sooner. So even sometimes heading back to Troia and continuing along the red route, skipping the Via Litoranea section. There are very, very good bus links, so that's always an option if you'd like to head to Monte Sant'Angelo and to visit it, but then go back to the main route. It is very well connected by buses. So coming to some logistics of the route, the total number of days is about 45 to 48, based on an average of walking 20 to 25 kilometers per day. About 70% of this route is paved or on asphalt, sometimes on busier roads, but also on lovely country lanes. Overall, the best months are September, October, May, and June, although Puglia is lovely year-round, really, and in March and April, very much so. It can be completed easily over several trips, so in sections, because, again, there are very, very good transport links and several train stations, which we indicate in the book, so you can come back and complete the route if you cannot do the whole thing in one go. The budget here in Italy is can range quite a lot. So you can count 20 euros being the least expensive day, but then for some of the more expensive days, you're looking at 150 euros or more. There isn't any luggage transfer services apart from right at the beginning, just south of Rome, so in the Lazio region. And then there are two companies that will do a luggage transfer service, charging 50 euros per stage, whether there is one bag there or 5. There are, like Sandy said, there are 3 places you can receive a testimonium on this route: Monte Sant'Angelo, Brindisi, and Santa Maria di Leuca, of course. And you do have to walk the last 100 kilometers for any of these 3 testimoniums. There are also many places that you can purchase the pilgrim passport along the way, which we also list in the guidebook. With regards to lodging, about 50% of the municipalities on this route have some form of pilgrim-oriented lodging option. They are also all listed in the book, but there is a detailed PDF with nearly all the options available, who we have been in touch with, who have confirmed, who have given us all the details when they are open, whether they have a washing machine, whether they offer breakfast and so forth. That PDF is available to download for free from the CPR website or from the Cicerone webpage, where the book is as well. Some accommodation options, particularly religious accommodation options in churches or monasteries, are a little bit difficult to get a hold of in advance. So don't be surprised. And if you don't hear from them when you try to call them or when you send emails, they do actually prefer WhatsApp messages. They're more likely to get back in touch with you that way. But sometimes there have been occasions where simply arriving at the church and knocking on the door, they will be able to put you up for the night. We do recommend investigating Plan B options as well, and we list where that happens in the book. Prices again vary significantly depending on the time of year. So in the summer, they can almost double. All the prices we list are indicative, and it's a good idea to always check in advance. And then with regards to the pilgrim lodging, it can really vary as well. There are pilgrim lodgings which will be, you'll be given the floor in a church, and there might not be access to showers. Again, we write all this down, but there are also hosts who welcome pilgrims into their homes and then really enjoy a communal dinner, sharing stories of pilgrimage with you. The pilgrim-oriented lodging is either donation-based or has a set price. The waymarking is generally really, really good in Lazio and Puglia. There is about 40% lacking in Campania, so the more mountainous part of the trail. All the walking directions we provide, we give a lot of details, particularly for Campania, so you can't get lost. And then the Via Francigena stewards and volunteers are consistently updating all of their waymarking in all the regions. So we expect that to really, really improve in Campania as well. There are GPX files for those pilgrims who use them that can be downloaded from the VF web page, the Via Francigena web page, or of course from the Cicerone web page too. So our book helps you with planning. It follows the standard Cicerone format. So if you've seen Sandy's books before, you'll have seen that there's the same sort of layout. We're given a good overview of the route. We help you plan and prepare in advance, and then we break up the route into suggested stages, again averaging between 20 to 25 kilometers. Within each stage, we give you an overview of the length of that stage, the distance, the total ascent. We tell you how much of the route is paved, and then the municipalities, the towns where you can find lodging options, including past the route if you would like to walk a little bit longer. So we have calculated that for you. Then we also describe the route overall, what it feels like, what you can expect. And of course, very importantly, if there are any provisions along the way, or so you can get an idea of how much water to carry. Finally, there are also elevation profiles too. So within our walking directions, we've of course got our maps, which match the walking directions really well. So all the key locations where you can expect, for example, a steep path, or where you can expect a gate are noted. In the walking directions, we refer to all the water sources as well that you can pass along the way, as well as all the services, so restaurants and cafes where you can get refreshments, and they're highlighted in blue. We also indicate where there are hotels, like here, it's indicated with that blue symbol, it's a hotel, or other lodging options which you will pass along the way, not so much in a municipality, within a town, but something you might pass along the way. And we list these in our detailed PDF as well. We also describe all the different points of interest, so that you will encounter, such as churches, monuments, amphitheaters, Roman remains, and so forth, and give you a little bit of background on the history. And finally, we also explain where there might be some interesting detours as well, worthwhile detours, as well as good shortcuts to take, but as well as we also explain where there might be some tricky terrain, which can be, for example, very muddy, and where we might recommend walking on the road instead. And within the towns themselves, we list the different infrastructure. So you can see that on the top with symbols. And then we give you an overview as well of the history and the stories behind the town, as well as some places to visit within the town for the evening. And of course, our all-important accommodation options, which are indicated with different colors depending on the type of accommodation. You can see there are the telephone numbers there. You have the email addresses, the cost, which is again indicative, and also the different services that the hotel can provide. So right at the top there, you can see an O, and that means that accommodation option is open year round. This is the collection of Cicerone's pilgrimage books. You can see Sandy's 4 books there at the top, so the entirety of the Via Francigena, all the way from Canterbury. Here are some other books of ours as well, and other books by other pilgrimage guidebooks as well by other authors, including routes in Portugal and Japan. Of course, we have our UK-based pilgrimage guidebooks too, and for cyclists, there are guidebooks as well to the Camino de Santiago routes. And I think that is all from me. Thank you so much for listening.